2, 1.
Let's go.
Welcome to the podcast that brings you raw, uncut, and unfiltered perspectives about life.
We need to have a conversation, all right?
We got to do better as a people.
Covering relationships, culture, music, and everything in between.
So that our stories in our communities can be heard.
This is Unlatched.
I got a little something for you.
And now your host, De'Andra Cargill.
Sorry about that. My mic was muted. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unlatched. I am your host, De'Andra Cargill. Thank you guys for joining me. So today on the show, I am going to talk about sex, soul ties, and dating. A lot of people want to know why I practice celibacy, and I just want to talk about a few things. The reason why I am. So I do have a couple guests that are here with me. I have that boy Reckless with me. What's up?
What's really good? How you doing?
Hey, welcome to Unlatched.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We in the building.
We
Absolutely,
in the
and I have Q.
Reckless, what's up, boy? We back at it, ain't we?
Hey, well,
Look, I know you're tired,
So-
man. I'm quit bothering you, though, for real.
Can you guys tell the listeners a little about yourselves?
Let you go first, that boy Reckless, man.
I am that boy Reckless. I am a life coach from a mental health perspective. I believe in root cause analysis and not just symptoms. Understand? I believe if we tackle the root cause, we can actually get to the thing and remedy people out of ruts. The whole premise is if you have 1,000 friends and nobody to confide in, we chat here provides that service to where we get you through hand in hand, foot and nail. Understand? That's what I do.
Absolutely, thank you.
Um,
Q.
my name is Xavier Smith. I go by Q. I'm the host and the CEO of the Incredible Combo Podcast. The motto for the podcast is to reshape the minds and hearts of our people. Just get people to the table, man, where we can do some things together, network, connect, and just engage into some transparency. So I'm willing to, work with a variety of people, get different perspectives, and engage our crowd. So
Absolutely. And thank you guys for joining me. So I'm going to start out with a clip and then we're going to move on to our discussion.
okay.
There is nothing casual about casual sex. In this day and age of casual sex, where we are very quick to jump into bed, we have many partners, we need to understand the spiritual and energetic ramifications of sleeping with a person. When we are physically intimate with a partner, it actually creates something called a soul tie. It creates an energetic cord between you and that person that continues even long after they're no longer in your life. So if we have multiple partners, what that means is that we have multiple soul ties that really are like energetic leaks in our boat. Also, energetically, when we sleep with someone physically, we are actually energetically coming together with their spirit body. So we are absorbing and we're taking on everything that they were dealing with energetically. So when it actually comes down to it, there's nothing casual about casual sex.
Interesting.
Which brings me to my first question. Do you guys feel like there is, when two people have sex, do you think that there is an exchange of energy? Do you believe that there's an exchange of energy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, absolutely. So when we look at exchanging energies, right? Before we were here, we were never not here. So our energy is always present. Like energy is always present. So when you have sex, of course, there's an exchange of energy, and it all depends on what type of energy you're exchanging on. All sex isn't just bad energy sex, understand? But some could be. So it depends on how you're engaging for me, like how you're engaging into the act. Depends on the energy that's being transferred.
What about you?
Oh, of course. Anytime you're exchanging energy in that type of light, is always giving some kind of emotional fidelity. So we talking about on the aspect side of it, with someone being able to accept the exchangement between two partners, but not understanding clearly that it is consequences and there's other alternatives as well whenever you in that type of action, or whatever the case might be.
Right. So when I speak of these exchanges of energies, um, would you would you call them soul ties?
Mm,
Would you refer to them as soul ties?
So I would say it depends on the experience
right.
because some sexual encounters are forgettable. Like just to be honest, some are forgettable. So for me, it's not so much of a soul tie. So it depends on the experience, and like I said, it depends on like how we congregate and how we usher this type of experience in, as opposed to the just yo, pull your pants down. I'm about to ramrod. There's no soul tie to that. But now if we exchange on how sex should be performed, like it's a science and an art. If you get into your artistry, then absolutely it's a soul tie.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally did. I totally agree. I was about to say disagree, but I totally agree, man. You have to be mindful of people that you come in contact with, regardless if it's on a serious side or just being involved with anyone. Whenever you lay down and you exchange body fluids, and the fun begin, the happiness begin, then you have to look at the fidelity side of it, with understanding that now that person has full access to you and you have full access to them. So now it becomes not in the sense of controlling, but now that they have some part of you where they feel like that things runs around them and only them. So we have to just be careful.
Right. Do you think that sex has been normalized? Like, do you think it has been normalized in hookup culture?
Sure.
So yeah, so I think sex is like, let's go play basketball in today's culture. Understand? It's a thing to do. But when you and that's why I say sex is really a science and it's an art. But right now it's just a thing to do. Like, oh, let's just go have sex. I'm
Right.
bored. And that's the atrocity of it at this stage.
hmm that's true. Yeah, that's true. Whenever you get somebody access to you, man, I'm telling you, like that thing get ugly. And y'all might have heard of people, that just casually or have sex regularly, but it's stuff that's going on around here, and people just giving their bodies up so easily. Of course, things will be easy to anyone because like that person just giving them full autonomy over what's theirs, but like not actually yielding to, like, hey, let me get to know this person. We always run away from that. We're getting to know a person. We always yield into what we know about them, and visually what we see, but we don't never take the time out to be like, well, hey, I want to know a bit more about this person instead of laying down to make it my first getaway with them. So
Right. So I'm 33 years old. I'm a mother of 4 kids, but I am at the point where I realize that when I have sex, I catch feelings. So I did a lot of research on it. I studied it, and I know for me, in my belief, I believe that sex is for marriage, right?
Mhm.
So I catch feelings, and I just narrowed it down to like soul ties. Like you're bonding with this person, like you become connected to this person. Like you might not even know this person, but some way like emotionally, like you are connected and like just bonded with this person, like as if it was something more, like, and it could have been something that it wasn't a long relationship. So that's for me. And I can't speak for all women because there are a lot of women that do have casual sex. They go out, they have sex with different people, and they think nothing of it. But I think that in a way, even though they think that they are having sex,
Mhm.
casual sex, not catching feelings, I think that I would say, in a way, they're not realizing that they're having sex with these people and these people are not committing themselves to them. And I
Right.
think that in the end, it's some type of toll that could be, you know, that comes down on a woman to where she may feel insecure in ways, because no one ever stayed. You get what I'm saying? I think that
Right.
in the end, I think it comes back and it bites them in the ass because, you know, they may be having fun in the moment, but when they're looking back at it, it's like, well, nobody stayed. I had sex with these people. I gave myself to these people, and nobody stayed.
So what
So,
happens? Oh
mhm.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
So to me, sex is a lot more than just casual encounters, meeting people, um, and I would think that as you get older, you get to a place where you value yourself more. So
Mhm.
let me ask you guys as men. Do you think that a woman that does have sexual encounters, do you think of her as a high value woman? Like, how would you look at this woman?
Mm.
So from my standpoint, if the woman only has vagina to offer, that is not an offer for me. Understand? It's like if you only have sex to offer, that is not an offer. Like what else do you have going on? Every female has a vagina. So if that's your goal and if that's what your staying point is, your vagina. Okay, on to the next one. We gotta find something else that's viable, that's sustaining. Sex is not a sustaining
Mm.
thing in a relationship.
Mm.
Sex should be a bonus act. It should be an addition to.
Yeah.
Understand? And what happens in this
Absolutely.
society, we value biology over chemistry to where it should be chemistry over biology. And this is how we get into these predicaments of, oh, I'm sexing such and such, such and such, such and such. But the fulfillment is never there because I'm coming with sex as the value, understand, instead of something else.
Agree. Agree. And I could say from my point of view, you know, if a woman just have sex or anything sexual related at first hand, that's easy. So that's being able to give someone easy access to you. And I just had a discussion with someone regarding that, being able to be in the light of someone that you have to work for, and you know that you have benefits that you can include with that woman. I rather have that over someone that I just lay up with and exchange my body with, but also knowing that that person, I'm probably not in the best interest of them. So because anybody can exchange sex. A woman can easily give up vagina. I mean, they make it so easy, not making it so broad for it being that to all women, but it's easy whenever you have a woman that makes it easy. But if you have someone that you can work for, and you can do things build a relationship with, the alternative of it is having the opportunity to engage in that at a later time. But at first hand, no. No.
So for you guys, so her having sex early instantly decreases her value in a man's eyes. Well, for you guys.
So I think that's like a two-part question. Now,
Mm.
So if I'm courting, right, and we have sex early, no, that doesn't diminish or, decrease her value, right? But if this is the only thing that she has to offer, that is going to diminish the value because you can have sex, but then get on, you know what? I know stocks. I know how to invest. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. And then we could build on that. Sex, like I say, was just the bonus act. We got to it. We hit the dessert before we hit the entree. That's all that is. That doesn't diminish the meal though. But now if it's just, hey, I just got this apple pie, that's it. It's like, all right, what are we doing next? Because I still need my entree. So that for me, it doesn't diminish her.
Right. Right.
Okay. What about you, Q?
Um, I want to pick it back off Reckless. Like he said, you have to have values altogether. Just being able to see a woman just for that, it's more opportunities into building a relationship or whatever that relationship looks like on a friendship level or relational ties. Sex takes a lot energy, feelings, emotions, transparency. Like then it start getting into a controlling phase, which I know in the latter part of this pod we'll probably get into all that. But I wouldn't want to give up my body and all my energy to someone that probably not gonna stay in the same season as me. So I want to be able to, to eliminate that conversation from being at the top of my queue.
All right. So for me, when it comes to men, them having sex early or, trying to have sex early, um, it makes me feel like that's all they want. I feel like I mean, if there's nothing else that we have to talk about, if there's nothing else that they're bringing up, I feel like, it does in a way, um, make his value go down to me because I don't know how many women he's trying to do this with, you know? And I feel like, it's just nothing that can come from it if that's all he's asking for. So in a way, you know, I can't, it's hard for me to look past that when
Right.
he tries to have sex early,
Mm-hmm.
you
Right.
know?
So if a man tries to have sex early, it's like you're putting bad intentions on the whole thing.
Well, I
Right,
mean, it kind of makes me feel as if I just feel like there's so many other things that we can talk about and do before that.
right.
No, I agree.
No,
But what happens is we have a culture to where everybody goes into dressing rooms to try on clothes, right? People test drive cars and things of that nature. So that has been inducted into sexual encounters and relationships to where people just may be like, you know what, before we go a step further, this is big on my plate. Let me go ahead and try to see what is hitting for.
right.
Understand? Before we move forward. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the female is on that type of time, right? The
Mm-hmm.
male is on that type of time, but that does not make his intention afterward null and void, though.
Right, right. And it becomes a distraction method too, because let's say that we have sex, she has sex with me, I have sex with her, then it takes you away from the purpose of you getting to know that person. Also, it causes a distraction in your work life, your personal life, even things that you do in the community. So like if we have a distraction in that sense where we know that we giving our bodies to any and everybody and we sharing our bodies, then we already know the consequence side of that is, it could be a possible chance that someone might catch something, it a possible chance that someone could have a baby. And then it causes a lot of conflict that you probably can't resolve. So then it start causing all types of conflict amongst you, and then that's an unsafe environment. Then because then you put yourself at risk, you putting that person at risk, but you have other involvement encounters with other people that probably wouldn't even know about you. So again, we have to undo cultural. As I said in previous podcasts, even on WeChat here LLC, we talked about that a lot with undoing the cultural and the mindset of what we actually know.
Right. So, going back to soul ties, I even think about like some of these toxic
Mhm.
relationships where people are not equally yoked at all, and they can see it, they see it. Everybody, people from a mile away can see it, but sexually they're bonded because of soul ties. Do you guys feel like a lot of people remain in relationships because of these exchange of energies?
Oh
Do you
yeah.
think?
Oh
So
yeah.
I got a question. I
Go
got
ahead.
one
Go ahead.
question
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
before we go into that. So let me ask you this: what if it's bad sex? Is that like so? If you have a bad sex encounter, do you still feel emotionally charged to the person?
Mm, mm,
So I can say from experience, I have had sex with someone that did not have great sex. But the more that I did have sex with him, I started to catch feelings for him. And I
mm,
noticed that I started catching feelings for somebody that I really didn't even like.
mm,
So I
Right,
feel like that energy still,
mm.
it was an exchange of energy.
right. So so in that and that lets me to say this: being that you kept having sex, right, with the same person, that alone is gonna draw an emotional tie. It's just like being like you could have been with that person, didn't like him, and just chilled with him, and the same emotional tie would have been there. Understand?
Right.
So when I think of soul ties, I'm thinking if I encounter this person for this one time, right, and we have this interaction, beyond that one time, I'm tied to them. They're gonna be on my mind.
Mm,
But not as in a relationship, but just from the one act. So I believe if it's a bad sexual experience, it's gonna be one and done. You're not even gonna remember me. Understand? You see what I'm saying? So, but if it's a great encounter, then that's when the emotional arousement starts to cling. It's like, yo, this was a good encounter. It's almost like no disrespect, but when you got your fiend hit his first type of fix,
right.
he's chasing that fix from here on out.
Right.
Understand? So for me, bad experiences is no so is bad experience. I don't care.
Hmm.
So we got to be real. It's a fine line to when we say soul ties because if it's not for both bad and good experiences, it can't be a soul tie. We have to really dig down deep and say, am I searching for the good, or is this a soul tie? You see what I'm saying? It's a
Right.
fine line.
Right.
Yeah. And I reckless. I want to touch on that. Being any and everywhere with everybody can be a soul tie
Hmm.
on the basis of everybody. Listen clearly, with everybody having you. That soul tie movement.
Right.
But again, like you gotta really identify what a soul tie really looks like. Because again, if you do have a bad experience with that person, or rather if it's good and you want to celebrate it and you want to tell your friends about it, it still makes it as like, man, I'm putting that person at risk still. Because the challenge then is when you share the news or you share whatever you have going on with this particular person, it's still putting them at risk regardless of if you enjoying the sex and all that stuff. And he done been like that with any and everyone. Even she done been like that with any and everyone, where everybody can label it as good sex. Oh, it's always good. But everybody had the potential of having you. That still eliminates what the soul tie format looks like too as well.
Right.
Right. So you guys remember back in the day on BET where they had that sex commercial when one person got in the bed and then their partners
Yeah.
got in the bed and there was a whole bunch of people that was piling up in the
Right.
bed and like all their partners piled up in the bed and that person partners piled up in the bed. So it's just like a bed full of
Hmm.
people, right? So what is your take on when we do get these soul ties, um, do you feel like we take on energy from other people that they sleep with? Is that what you were trying to say, Q? In a way?
In a slight regard, because regardless of who you sleep with, and I'm just putting it out there, regardless of who you sleep with, that energy and that soul replacement for someone else could still follows, because the person that you may lay with, you never know where their mindset is, far as the person they lay with before you, and them having the same entitlements as you in the bedroom, but they can't necessarily say that they have the same characteristics as you. That's a big difference. But at the same time, being mindful of how you share your body with someone, but also putting a pause on it, like, like, hey, this is not where I want to go right now. This is not the focus. Let me get to know you. Let me match frequencies with you, and like, let me just understand you as an individual, because we missed that too. We missed that too much as a woman and a man. We miss all of that. So imagine putting your shoes and getting to know someone in a clear light, and you can see how relationships can actually flourish.
Fact. So
Absolutely.
to to the so we got two forms of energy, right? We got kinetic energy and we got potential energy. So when we're talking about soul ties and energy is being transformed or transferred because of a sexual act,
Mhm.
for me it depends on if that energy stays or is it gonna stay kinetic. Understand? Because when it's tied to me, that energy becomes potential, right? Because any non-moving energy is just potential energy because it's not moving. So it depends. All energy is not potential. Some energy just moves on. Like I said, for me, it depends on how good or how great the experience is.
Right.
If it if I encounter somebody on a sexual level and it's trash, there's no tie to me. I'm never gonna remember this. I'm not gonna have their energy on me. This is just that boy reckless speaking.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. So, but now if it was one of the best experiences, top three, and I'm joning, I got to see her again. That's when it becomes a tie. I'm looking for it again. I'm almost fiending for her again. Understand? As
Mhm.
opposed to I. So that's how I look at soul ties. It's like, what is the aftermath? Like, am I joning or am I good on it? Understand?
Right. So, um, I got another clip that I want to show.
Okay.
You've had sex with over 200 women
Yeah.
and you have no soul ties.
Nope.
How?
How not?
So you mean to tell me, out of all these women that you have had sex with, you can detach yourself from every single one of them? Because sex was such a very integrated experience.
If you make it that
Are you
way,
doing that on purpose?
no. If you go into it with, like, I want to have this connection with this person,
Okay.
then maybe. But women, someone is entering your body.
Yes. Receiving.
You're receiving. I'm giving. I'm giving off. So you're taking this. That's why women have soul ties. I believe. I don't have any soul ties. I had sex with all these women, and there's nothing, not an ounce of nothing.
Wow.
I can have sex
So
with a
it's like
thousand more.
it's easier for you to detach because you're not receiving.
I would say, yeah.
Because you're also exiting.
Bro gotta
Right.
be lying.
Yeah, that's
Bro
a
gotta
crazy
be.
perspective. But nonetheless, watch this. I stated, for me, sex is an art and it's a science, right? And he stated he doesn't go into these encounters with those metrics. Understand? So it's not tying to him. Like I said, if he's just on some, yo, pull your pants down, let's do it, let's get out of there. Is no ties to that.
Mhm.
This is almost a
Right.
barbaric act at that point.
Right.
So I think that I think that's one of the main reasons why men and women think of sex differently.
Mhm.
I
Absolutely,
think
but
that we
it should everybody should look at sex as an art and a science. Understand?
Everybody.
Sex was created to multiply the earth, right? That is the purpose of sex. Understand? It actually was created for a purpose. Now, how we get off the purpose is a lot of reasons. But when you go into a sexual encounter for those reasons, like the metrics of it, I think that's when you're dealing in the godly aspect. But when you just, I'm trying to get this body count up, like he said, 2,000 or 200.
Look, he said
I think he said
1,000.
200.
Yeah, so
He
200.
said it.
That
Mhm.
for me, that's it's like you don't value yourself. Understand? That's just me though, because at the end of the day, you gotta some type of self worth should be there. Understand?
Mhm.
For you to not give yourself away. We like it's no value when you just giving yourself away because you could do an act of sex. Understand?
Mhm. And it damage your mind too, man. Like most people don't understand that damage your mindset. Like it just have everything off about you too. Once you get into encounters, because we not using it as a good references because everybody is so detached from it where like is people just do it, so like they throw themselves out there and they just risk it all. Like a lot of people are risk their marriage, or people are risk pretty much anything for something that's not even gonna last that long, just to get the feeling from someone else. So that's it makes sense. It makes sense.
So I heard you say, Q, that he lying. So is it possible for a man though to have sex with over 200 women and not have some type of exchange of energy with any of them?
He is I mean, like, what those amount, if we look at that amount, that's a lot of women. If we want to be technical about it, that's a lot of women. So in a sense, you can't say that it wasn't 1/3 or 3/5 of a person out of that 200 that you didn't at least catch feelings with it. Cause in a sense, it would have been like, well, you didn't catch no feelings for none of them, then it had to all be trash. It just had to all be trash.
Right.
But
Right.
but it had to at least be one or two out of that bundle where like, man, listen, I want to stick around, regardless of the relationship that lasts a long time. Like I want to have that again. Like, you know, sh- that's how it's gonna go. But I just felt like he was lying in a sense, but he could not be lying because I mean I'm not in his shoes, but 200 is a big number.
So the way I look at it, I think 200 could be obtainable, right? On just on a macro level, 200 could be obtainable, right? But when I look at not having soul ties from none of them, all he doing is going there and getting his rocks off. He's not trying to please. Like I say, he's not getting into the artistry of it and being a pleaser of sex. He's going in like, I'm about to this 99. Let me get my rocks off. This is 100. Let me get my rocks off. So with that mindset, yeah, you could not have soul ties with nothing at that with that mindset.
Right.
So I know Big Exclusive had asked the question. Can I ask you guys, what is your definition of a soul tie?
So so as far as a sexual encounter or just period.
Just period. Okay.
I would say a sexual encounter.
Okay.
There are other ways, other soul
Not
ties,
yet
but
because
as
other
far as
stuff.
like
All
a
right. So
sexual
mine
encounter.
is if we encounter, and like I'm gonna reiterate, and I'm joning afterwards, like yo, I gotta have it again with this particular person. Nobody else is doing it right. That like I'm fiending, like my soul is at an unrest. It's almost like I'm going through a detox off of heroin, understand? Because the chemical exchange, right, just gave me an imbalance. And I need that, understand? That dopamine is hitting, it's hitting, it's hitting. And that's the only person that can fulfill that. That's, for me, is a soul tie, a sexual soul tie.
And mine's is inflicting on what I see. So having that enjoyment and that happiness in the moment, but at the same time, that person I'm enjoying it with, I'm doing nothing but filling their head up with nothing but lies. But at the same time, what I'm filling their head up with is pretty much getting in their pants. So like once I got it, then it's like, what's next? Because remember, we never had a discussion about anything regarding the both with motivating each other or putting each other in a good headspace. We only had one attachment where we decided that we was gonna get one thing done and we were gonna discuss one thing only. And that was just the house sits. You feel me? I feel you. We enjoy it and we keep it moving. So that's a good.
So for me, as far as sexual soul ties, I would say um there could be a godly soul tie and an ungodly soul tie for
Mm,
me. So I would say the godly soul tie would be between a husband and a wife.
mm,
You know, an exchange of energy, exchange of you know, just mentally, just an exchange of that. Bonding, spending time together, like just feeding for that person. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Um I would say an ungodly soul tie would be between two people that are not married,
mhm.
that might have sexual encounters,
For a fact.
that it may not go anywhere, and it could be toxic. It could
Mhm,
be a toxic relationship, and the only thing that is bonding these two people is because of the sex and the energy that they did exchange during sex.
mhm.
So and that's lust. I would say lust would be an ungodly soul tie
So
because God is
so
love.
so if
So
we
I believe that if it's a what husband and a wife, what would make that godly would be God. You
mhm,
get what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I understand that
So one
completely.
would be love and one would be lust.
mhm.
Hmm.
So that prompts the next question. What's the difference between lust and light?
I would say, um,
L-
I
I
mean,
know
I
it's
don't know.
hard.
I would probably put lust with somebody that's having sex. I could like somebody. I don't know,
Mhm,
and you could lust after somebody without having sex with them.
mhm, mhm,
So when we speak about
I
lust,
was
it's
I would
almost like
say,
a
oh,
no. Go ahead, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I would say lust would be more of it could be a way that somebody looks. You might like lust after the person the way the way that person looks, but you might not necessarily like that person.
mhm,
I would say like would be more you like that person.
mhm.
You can like her and you can like the way she looks. So I mean that would be lust and love to me.
So for my distinguishing between, you said lust and light,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah,
All right.
That's what
So
I was meaning. I'm sorry.
you good.
lust is like almost a burning desire. It's like it's a burning desire to do one thing. Understand? I I'm I got this burning desire just for this portion of you. That, for me, that's what lust is. So
Mhm, mhm.
What would be your definition, Q?
Mine
Like, well,
lust,
I wouldn't say
lust,
definition, but what would
lust,
be
like, and I that's crazy because and it was just right in the top of my head because I was thinking about it and I was gonna actually do a segment on lust and light, but if you look at lust and light, lust is always grieving or craving that person, but on the light side of it is you can like them for various reasons: the way they cook, the way they smell, the way they keep their hair up, the way they groom, the way they use their essentials, stuff of that. So like when you just think about it from a one-sided perspective with the lust part, you can like that person on a separate level, but the lusting part of it is like, man, their body just look nice, or boy, I like the way that chest sit up, or whatever the case might be. Just having that image of um fascination, or the image part of thinking like what I want to do to that person.
Right. So, which brings me to another question. Um, yeah, and like I said, I would put lust in the category with a soul tie, because I mean, if it's toxic and it ain't nothing else, and you just after that person for sex, and I would say an ungodly soul tie.
Mhm.
Um, I would say it's more of a lust.
Mhm.
Um, for another question, what about unprotected sex? Do you think that soul ties form from unprotected sex? Well, I mean, protected sex. I'm sorry.
Mm. Ooh, you have to be careful with that one. What you think on that one?
So watch this. You said could a soul tie be formed with protected sex or unprotected,
Or both?
or both? All right. So when uh you mother a child, right? It says, "Hey, I want you to have this child skin to skin." That's by design. That's for a reason. So anytime you go and have a sexual act unprotected, it's the sense of passion is always going to be heightened, right? The tie is more alluring at that point
Mm-hmm.
because of the skin to skin. It's you just got to look at it from birth, understand like how important it is for the mother and the child and the father and the child to have that skin to skin tie. So when we get to adults and we have that skin to skin, it reminds us of just the longing of and how important that nourishing skin to skin is. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, that for me, when you do that, you're actually trying to get this soul tie. You're trying to capture this soul, right? Because skin to skin is power. Is powerful. Is not just happenstance, right? So yeah, yeah,
It's
it's
a
more
yeah.
coming than I'm or having a condom.
Even if it's trash.
That's a good question. Understand?
Even if it's
So I now watch this trash skin to skin. It can still be forgettable. However, it's still a measure of it may not. It still may be sustainable because the skin to skin may override the trash. Because, like I say, that skin is like when you go skin to skin, that's a whole different aspect.
mm-hmm.
You're dealing in almost a godly realm. You see what I'm saying? And it's so now you at a desert and you see a mirage because it's trash, but it's skin to skin. So now you on the lines of a soul tie.
Mm-hmm.
All
Right.
trashness needs to be
Right.
with a condom. Let me just say that.
Hey, true indeed. Yeah, I don't feel
I mean, but it always feel better without the condom, right?
yeah, yeah. That's the narrative, of course. Of course, that's what they say. Feel good. That's for feel good. But yeah, that I mean, anytime always just to stay on topic. Protected sex is the moral of anybody that's having sex. I don't care who it is. That becomes then a teachable moment because having unprotected sex because people want to enjoy it to the fullest extent. Um, that can be measurements of multiple, altercations, or that can be multiple problems that occur whenever we do that with a partner too as well, because you don't know how that person reputation is. You don't know if that person like to bash or that person like to brag, or just put your name out there and stuff like that. So you have to be real careful what you so tie into. But making sure, like, at any point, just a disclaimer to keep that person discreet, or keep things discreet with you and that person too.
Absolutely. So for me, when we get to the point of not using rubbers, I'm already kind of connected to you in some kind of way.
Yeah.
So when we don't use rubbers, it's over. Like I, I'm tired.
We tied. Yeah.
It's over.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So
And I think that I couldn't hear you.
I say in some regards, you say you're crazy.
I used to be, but that's I practice celibacy. So I've been celibate for a while now. And I think that it has been like one of the best journeys that I have ever been on. Cause um I don't know. I feel like with women, I think that it's deeper. It's deeper. We're more emotionally attached. Like you guys say, you can go and you can have sex with a woman and not even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, some men they go in and have sex with multiple
Mm-hmm.
but most of the time that woman is thinking about that one man and waiting for that one man while that man is out there having sex with multiple women, you know. So I think that that's how we were created. I think that that's how it's supposed to be. So let me ask you guys a question. When it gets to a point where a woman and a man too can sleep with multiple people and not feel anything,
Mm.
do you think they have gotten to a point where they're I don't know. Like, do you think they've gotten to a point in their, where they're just not like emotionally available?
Or interested, yeah. I see.
The Bible calls people to the liking reprobated minds. Understand? To where it's like he says, no emotional charge, have no feeling. It's just like it's an act. It's like, yo, let's go shoot pool. It's just an act. It's not. It's not. It's sex, but it's not sex. If you could wrap your mind around that, it's like we're doing this, but this is likened to playing basketball. There's no emotions unless you
Mm.
in the NBA. Understand?
Men are not weird like women when it comes to sex. Men can have sex and get up like nothing ever happened.
Me and
So is that does it take time for a man? Like, okay, so when a man first starts having sex, right? Does it take him time to get to that point where he can get up and just start having sex with other people and act like nothing ever happened? Or in the beginning, do you guys get stuck as well and get emotional? Like, does that happen over time? And is
So
that something that happens because you are a man and you feel like you're less of a man if you remain in that place where you are emotional after you have sex?
so so now that's a that's a
that's
good
a
question.
challenging one, wasn't it? Don't it? I can say
No, because
automatically.
I want to, I like to answer questions and be concise.
Yeah. Once it is in our nature, the hunt is a natural predators. I get it.
So so just reiterate the question again, so I could just get it clear.
Say it one more time.
I said, could you reiterate the question?
Okay, so what did I say, Q?
Oh Lord, you
So I'll ask you, how long does it take you to get to a place where you are not like emotional about having sex? Like, you don't get emotional, for a woman after having sex and you can move on and get up and, just go have sex with other people. Does that take time or is that something that just comes natural to men?
I believe that depends on what stage you're at in life. Understand? If so, when I hear that question, I'm thinking post relationship. Like, okay, I just got a bad breakup, and then I'm gonna start sexing these women, and then when does the emotion kick in after that? Or so that's what I'm saying. So I think it would have to be, it depends on what stage you're at in life. Understand? If you're just going out to get your body count up, it may take a while for you to have some emotional fortitude to sex,
Right.
or become, if you're not looking for a body count, if you're looking to court something for like the rest of your life,
Yeah.
your
And-
emotional fortitude is going to be there at an earlier stage. So
Yeah.
it just depends on what stage and your intent for going out and sexing. So,
Right. It's also being a natural predator as well. Some people do it right off the get up. Like you have some that just probably was taught to do something like that, or they learned from someone around them to treat women or men like that, to just get up and go on about your business and then go on to the next person and pretty much do the same cycle. But I always want to be reminded that that cycle can always backfire at any point too, because of that person that you may deal with. And let's just say that you may have somebody that want to be serious with you, regardless if y'all made it just a sexual thing. But you never know. The narrative can always change in a sense where you might have someone out that group that might want to be serious with you, and y'all bypass it because y'all already done set the standards of what you wanted to do. So it always got to be a conversation with anybody you dealing with in any regard. That's just safety for you and that person.
Absolutely. Which brings me to my next video.
Uh-oh.
Most women do not stick to you telling them they still gonna run behind you because they get emotionally attached. Do we agree with that?
No, 100% agree. And I'm glad you said that, because men will try to convince themselves like, yo, I told you what the situation was. It's like, come on, bro. You knew what you was doing. When 100%. You engaged,
but see, are you wrong for that though? Like, is a dude wrong for being honest about it? Having this woman now catches feelings. Was he really in the wrong for that?
I don't think he's in the wrong, but we know. Like, we're having this conversation right now. This is not a new conversation. We know women think emotion, they get attached, and then they wonder, man, she's crazy, bust my windows out of my car and did all that stuff. You knew it. We know it. We just take the chance because we don't think from the top here, we think from the bottom here.
Yeah.
right.
So
now, so in that regard, right, when you're a pleaser, right, and you go into a sexual act in your artistry, and you got your science behind it, but you don't have the intention behind it, you're gonna have that, understand, to where this experience is gonna be great for the female, but she's gonna be chasing. Like her emotional side is gonna be there instantly because I'm in my artistry, but my intention is not good. So yeah, that happens all the time. So where it may be a mutual thing, like, yo, we just gonna do this. It's mutual, but the female catches feelings because when you're dealing with a pleaser, you're getting everything that you wasn't getting. Understand?
I totally agree. I definitely agree. I agree.
So I think that even when it comes down to women, though, like we can agree in the beginning that, hey, we're only gonna have sex, right? I think that it does come a time, like I said, you get bonded to this person after transferring energy with this person, and you catch feelings and you find yourself way out in left field and you weren't even supposed to be there. But these are things that men already know. So why do you go through with it? Like, why don't you say, okay, well, I know that I'm not really invested in this person. I know I don't really like this person. I know the only reason why I'm really dealing with this person is because we do have sex. Like, I know it's kind of crazy. And like OG said, that you're responsible for your own feelings, but you got to think about the damage that it could have on a woman. And I'm not saying she's not causing it on herself, because it's something that you guys talked about in the beginning, but you guys know what it is, what it comes to.
So imagine the big wigs and the rap labels telling the rappers stop rapping about killing each other. That's how I liken what you like. It's not gonna happen. Understand? They make a lot of money off of these people rapping about killing each other. Understand? Now they know morally it's not right, but the monetary value is there. So if I know a female, like, okay, I already know you gonna catch feelings, even though we agreed upon. That's how situationships get started. Understand? It's like now we in a situation because even though I knew we still had this agreement, but now we're here. I mean, that because I knew I'm not to blame. Understand? That because I know I'm not to blame. Like everybody still needs to hold their teeth at the end of the day. Understand?
I agree.
Correct.
What about you, Q?
I agree to the fullest extent. That just being, how would I put it? Just being careful. I always say I use that word. I use that word real. I keep it closely with me. Being careful. And it is always a sense of we gotta have some type of sense of direction. When it come down to bodies that we accumulate in being around people, it's the story will always tell on the other end on how things really operate with that person. So when you're just talking about soul ties all together, people need to just be careful and draw that line because that causes a lot of problems. Like it causes serious problems. But also is a mind thing. That's what most people don't know. It's a mind thing of you knowing how to, you know, to not multiply things but subtract the things that you are including into your lifestyle. And that's what people have a hard time of understanding with getting with people and knowing the person, evaluating the person too is a big key with knowing about that person. Because if you know nothing about the person and we go straight to body or we go straight into sexual activity, then now we missing out on a person that that's probably can bring some benefits to what are we trying to do collectively. So I'm always saying, like, you just gotta watch people, and you always just gotta be on standby.
I definitely agree. I think that more importantly, and for women, we need to learn how to set
Yeah.
boundaries.
Bound-
I think we need to learn
yeah,
how to set
boundaries.
them. But those are uh can you put up Tiffany Ann's comment?
It's for me. Like we all got to look at we're all prizes, and there's no consolation. Understand? So
Right,
only the first place winner is gonna get this prize.
Mhm,
right.
mhm.
So she said, unfortunately, I think that a lot of women agree to stuff because they feel as though they can change the mind of a man.
Mm,
I think that that's true. I think that we spend a lot of
Okay.
time thinking that we could change a
mhm.
man's mind when that man's mind is already set, and he showed us, a million times, and we still trying to change it. And I think we break our own hearts a lot of the times by, trying to do that.
Change a person. I can say that. I will say that you cannot change a person. And the agreement side of it is a person that's unhealthy. A healthy person can only help them to a certain extent. But imagine that a person that's unhealthy, you know, putting that off on a person that's healthy, then you match energies with being unhealthy and unhealthy. So where is the security part in the sacrifice of the person that you needed to be right there in the moment of saving everything? So like that's why it's always being cognitive of who you trying to save and change, because you can only change certain parts of a person, but you can't change them overall. Like I can't change Reckless on how he is. I can't change you as you are. I can only change myself. So, the ideal part of it is, having y'all right in front of me, y'all giving me the knowledge, and you giving me the golden ticket, the be great in a sense.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, come loving yourself is a big part in it as well. Because why do you want to change somebody to fit who you want them to be? Like, no, I want you to be who you are. And if that's just you being in love with me, then that would be better. But if not, then I would find somebody that who they are and they love me or
Right.
want to be with me or however. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would want somebody to be their true selves. Period. I don't want to change anybody to fit who I want them to be. I want them to do it willingly.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to force them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to force it. I don't want to make anybody like me.
Mm-hmm. Straight up.
So,
Straight. Yeah.
so what would you say to women or men? Like, what are ways to break soul ties? If
Mm.
you find yourself in that situation, I would say ungodly soul ties.
Mm. Mm. I want
How
to.
do you break a soul tie?
Mm. Or what type of advice we would give to a woman or a man?
Yeah.
Okay.
To a woman or a man.
Um. I think for me, I'm gonna just be. It's just speaking for me. I always say process of elimination. Being able to process things. I always think with our minds in the neurons that runs in our head is being able to think things through, because a lot of time we don't give ourselves time to think. We just jump straight to it and think that everything is going to automatic work. But we got to be able to, we just got to be able to sit there and think it through before we just jump out there and be with any and everybody. Because everybody always say they want to protect their peace, but the way things are moving in society and how the world is changing and time is just on the move. Now it give us that go getting mindset to be like, man, you know what? Now in this day and time, let me be the change and not be the statistic of what's happening in our culture right now. So being able to just change the situation and process things out.
Right. Know exactly what you want and stick to that. Stop making excuses for people and put yourself first. Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. But yeah, I
Well,
agree with that comment wholeheartedly. You put yourself first.
Right.
And so when we say put out, and that's the exact advice I would give to when you put yourself first, you actually putting God first because God dwells within you. Understand? So it goes hand in hand. When you put yourself first, you're actually putting God first because God dwells within you. Never forget that. Never forget that the Holy Spirit resides within you. Understand? A lot of people forget that. So now you definitely put God first. And always remember, before I met you, I never knew you, but God is always going to be present. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my advice
amen.
to somebody trying to get over a soul tie. Before you met this person, you never knew him. So always invoke God into getting over your hump.
Mm-hmm.
Implore God into every aspect of your life because He's there. Actually, understand? The
Salute.
Spirit is there.
Hey, salute. Salute.
Absolutely.
Mm.
I would say to women, I mean, especially if it's something that you have experienced, I would say live in the moment and see what is it that's making you feel the way that you feel, you know? I would say learn from it.
Mm.
I would say set boundaries and God first, like you said. Um, and just setting boundaries. What you are going to allow and what you're not going to allow. And like you said, process of elimination. Get certain things out of your life. Are you still going to feel like you're tied to this person? Absolutely. It's going to take time, but over time, by putting yourself first, you're going to love yourself more. And
Yeah.
it's going to be less likely that you're going to jeopardize, things for somebody else that that's probably going to be playing games anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been single for a while now, and it's very hard for me to even open up to someone because I've been single for a while and I've been working on myself. And it's hard for me because it's like, is this really worth it? Like, is this worth putting myself through? So I think I've gotten to the place where it can kind of hurt me in a way because it's hard for me to open up to other people.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, though, I won't jeopardize myself,
Mm-hmm.
for someone else just to see if they plan or not.
Right.
So
And
I would say that, get to know yourself, set boundaries, watch out for those red flags and connect with God.
I want to.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you said that because I this is a good moment of sharing advice, and I heard Reckless said in one of his previous podcasts is where you was helping someone identify those spaces of being stuck. Even you done helped me with that. Being in a place where you done been stuck in a mindset to now that you can have them retrace what they done learned and they can apply it a different way. So if you can kind of touch on that, Reckless, on like how could De'Andra like reevaluate it and find a different clause to it.
Oh yeah, um so this is the thing, right? If you have you single for a while, you said, so you have a reservation for anybody already. Is already a wall up, correct? So the opportunity, so you're not handing out opportunities for people to play. But now,
Right.
if we look at people to say, okay, with this opportunity I'm giving, you're gonna play. It's already the stage already set. Understand? It's a play date now because you set the stage. So the opportunity is never fair in the beginning. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you just will have to really invoke the God within you to lead and guide you to have the discernment that you need to say, you know what, I may give this person a fair opportunity because I see me in him. Understand?
Right.
My ideals align with him. He said something that I would have said. I could give this an opportunity, unadulterated, a fair opportunity, not with the reservation of he gonna come and play and mess up my peace. Understand? Because God is the keeper of your peace, not man.
Absolutely.
Right. Right. Right.
Absolutely. Well, I think this was a great conversation we had.
Hey, it's always a
I
great
thank you
conversation
guys.
No.
when we got the culture on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I want
bro.
to thank you guys for coming in and joining me tonight. Do you guys have any last words or?
Mm.
Live life, love life, pursue happiness fearlessly. Understand God gave us that ability to be happy. Pursue it fearlessly.
Absolutely.
Mine is uh, I don't know. Just be you at all times. I appreciate the platform. I appreciate, Unlatched Podcast, big exclusive. We chat here, LLC, ICP. We all in the building, man. So like I always,
Appreciate y'all for real.
we definitely, we definitely here. I always say we blessed by the Most High. That's
Absolutely.
something that I always use in my reels. We blessed, man. So I always try to stay away from the words. We good, we okay. Just being able to honor our God and know that everything that's in His hands, His power and His will, man, He'll take care of the rest.
Amen. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you, you guys?
Mm-hmm.
You could catch me
Yeah,
on
thank.
the web. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You good?
My website is WeChat here, chat with a K.com. Understand? You could catch me on my app on Apple Store and Google Play Store under WeChat here. You could catch me on Facebook as That Boy Reckless and the WeChat here, and then we can put this in the chat so everybody can read it. Um, I'm on Threads. Yo, Threads is popping too. If y'all not on Threads, get on Threads. Threads is popping.
Yeah.
But yeah, we everywhere. That Boy Reckless File everywhere. We chat here. LLC.
For me,
Absolutely.
you can find me on my Facebook personal page, Quindarius Smith. You can find ICP on the Incredible Convo Podcast business page on Facebook. I'm also on Spotify at the Incredible Convo Podcast. I'm on Apple Podcast as well with the Incredible Convo Podcast. So I'm pretty much on all my platforms. Instagram at QS Podcast. So you can find me on all my platforms. make sure you book with me. Make sure you book with all of us. But definitely looking forward to having you all on the show. Anybody that want to come on the show again, you can book at any time.
Absolutely.
Also, YouTube.
And I want
that here.
YouTube.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube too. WeSatHere.com. The Build Refocus podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for joining me, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm your host, De'Andra Cargill. You can find me here every Friday night on the big exclusive network, Unlatched. So thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time.
All right. Thank you. Salute.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1. Let's go. Welcome to the podcast that brings you raw, uncut, and unfiltered perspectives about life.
We need to have a conversation, all right?
We got to do better as a people.
Covering relationships, culture, music, and everything in between.
So that our story